If you are a self-aware, creative, technically talented, niche skill set, multifaceted individual, and you're just like, how are people getting their foot in the door to land high ticket clients? How are they finding these decision makers? And maybe you've tried everything. Maybe you have built a multi-step funnel and you followed a lot of advice about social media marketing and you've tried to do it just right to attract these type of affluent people, and it's still not happening for you, and you're feeling frustrated because you feel like there must be some secret that other people know that you just haven't come across yet. Well, the next piece of advice I'm about to give might be a light bulb moment for you. Hey everyone, welcome back. Little side detail, just something I want to address, which is that you may have noticed, one, that I'm getting more relaxed doing this YouTube thing. I don't feel so stiff. The accusations of being AI on my first few videos kind of just nudged me towards loosening myself up, letting myself feel less anxious about putting myself out there in this way. Because as I mentioned, YouTube is something I've always wanted to do. I've had a lot of starts and stops with it that I am a little ashamed to admit, because I would start and then get a few videos out in a series and then stop. And that was because I had really unrealistic expectations about what was supposed to happen. But also because when it came to YouTube, I never was willing to give myself the permission to be a beginner. I thought because I had audiences on other platforms that there was this expectation on me first that I'd be really just naturally good at it and know all of the intricate things, such as how to edit and how to light and what to say and how to act, which I didn't. So there was a lot of pressure that I felt that was all just me creating pressure, making things harder on myself. But then there was the other honest piece of it, which was I really just wanted it to take off immediately, to reap the rewards without going through the process of gaining the experience and learning how to actually interact in this medium. So when I came back to it and I said, this is something I actually really do want to do, and I think I will regret it if I at least don't give it the full college try, I decided to clear that and committed myself to doing it as a humble beginner, pretending I knew nothing, as if I hadn't spent the last 15 years of my life doing different marketing tasks on the internet and building followings on other platforms. That I was just going to do this as if none of that was a thing, as if I was just somebody sitting down with a camera for the very first time, and to allow myself to have a grace period where I'm gonna be a little bit awkward. I'm gonna be a little bit bad at it. And all we were gonna do is just make slight improvements on each video. That was the plan and the intention, and now I am well into this journey, one foot in front of the other, slowly but surely, and I actually feel like that was the best thing I ever could have done. So I want to come in, and I hope this isn't too premature to be inspiring others from my journey. But if there is anything in your life that you feel like you're either like too far along in life to take up something new, but you're being called to it, whether it be art, music, podcasting, a business idea, YouTube, like me, you want to get on TikTok and do something really niche and crazy, go for it. Now is the time. Your life is in progress now. And I have to remind myself of this all of the time. And I think right now there is a lot of, fear and uncertainty as we're all looking into the future. We don't have a lot of confidence in the systems that used to serve us, and everyone is feeling like we want to return to a purer time. We are just like collectively nostalgic. Something I want to encourage people to do, similar to my approach with YouTube, is just start and do and share with other people and say, hey, look what I made. And let's share things with each other and cheer each other on like we used to, without all of this other convoluted stuff going on where it's just part of your, 6-step marketing funnel and is really you're just looking at what you can get from other people by creating the thing. Instead, just create the thing for yourself and share it with people, hat in hand, humbly, like, look at me being a beginner. It is really healthy to be doing that with others. And that's one of the things I am going to try to encourage people in my Enlightened Entrepreneurs group to do. It's been really great to approach community building and go back to the basics and really encourage people to act natural. I don't know, like unlearning all of this weird like marketing stuff and just like be genuine people. And I've been having coffee calls with other members from that community, and it's been actually incredibly healing because it's been a long time coming. I felt very resistant to socializing with my peers or other entrepreneurs aside of professional context where we're friends. You need to have people who are doing business, but you are not doing business with them. Well, on top of that, I think you need to be friends with people who understand what it's like to be creating things and joyfully creating, not with some agenda or strategic, massive plan, but just because you are a human being with something to share and express in this world. So, it's a long-winded way of saying that is why I am just getting better, a little bit better on each video, feeling a little bit more natural, knowing who I am actually speaking to, because now that there is a little bit of traction and engagement, and every comment and every subscribe matters right now to me, and I'm really honoring it as being precious energy that people are willing to give to me to tell me that I'm doing a good job, that I'm on track. But at the same time, that's why things keep changing, and I hope that I find a format that I really like and an editing style and a video length, and I figure out how to light myself and where I'm going to put my camera in this room. But that is not what today's video is meant to be about, and maybe I am going to be a bit of a rule breaker, making you listen to me ramble before I get to the real juice and substance of what I want to say today. But I'm actually addressing in this video people who have been asking me about my suggestion that they offer these coffee calls, and they just get on calls with complete strangers and talk about what you have mutually in common and kind of break the ice and build relationships and network beyond social media. This was included in my video with 3 tips on how to find high-paying clients without doing social media marketing. This piece of advice, the reason why I included it in there is because upon my reflections, remembering everything that actually did go right when I was building my agency that allowed me to scale it, I, stumbled across a little juicy gem of wisdom that I just feel is too good not to share. Because for me, when I really think about it, so this is what I've always done. I've always had a presence online. And as I was growing my business from age 22 all the way into my 30s, no matter what phase I was in, I was doing business storytelling. So I was doing my business and my work, but I was also building a community and a platform where I was sharing what I was doing. And that was based largely on the early wisdom that I gathered from listening to people like Gary Vee. I have also always enjoyed social media. I've been somebody who spent a lot of time on social media. I have no shame about that, and has been into hanging out on web forums and in online communities since I was a child. This was even pre-adulthood that this became kind of my way to socialize. So as far as like high ticket, and we're talking like 10K contracts and beyond, it always happened like this. Because I was doing all that showing and telling of myself, and I've always just been shamelessly honest and genuine as I was going about that, I would attract people who would be intrigued by me and aware of my skill sets, because I talked about my skill sets a lot in that storytelling. And they would approach me and want to have a conversation. And that conversation would usually just be a chat on Zoom or a phone call. If they were older, they wanted the phone call. If they were like myself, they wanted to get on Zoom and have a video conference call as soon as possible Some of these opportunities were people I met at conferences that I used to go to, and I would go to the conferences and I would go to all the social networking opportunities after that and be hyper social and get involved. And then those would also lead to follow-up conversations that were these calls. And not all of these people, these affluent decision makers, would actually hire me. A lot of the time, they would think about other people in their network who needed to know me. That's how they looked at it. They wanted credit for bringing somebody incredible and talented and expert that is a high demand skill set. Obviously, like a good ad strategist who has a portfolio where they've generated results is just a valuable, person to know in the B2B world. And so they would bring me into their network and refer me once they knew that I had things in common with them and that we were aligned. That's something that they would just go out of their way to do for me. That is something that I think that people at a certain level and experience and professionalism do for each other. It doesn't really matter what their like spiritual beliefs are, or political leanings are in the professional world. If you're dealing with a good person, this is kind of how they think. It's more about people are like chess pieces on their board. And I don't mean that in some kind of like they manipulate or use people. They just think about where they'd like to put somebody inside of their world in their network when they meet them, and they recognize unique skill sets or unique personal traits. And so that's really what I believe happened with me. All of the instances, in fact, were very similar in how they went about occurring. They would find me on the internet doing something not always related, but typically be like, what are you all about? I'm curious about you. And they just want the coffee chat. They just want the conversation first. And then being really good at like, you know, showing myself by being myself has always served me. I know that I, am magnetic to some people and off-putting to other people. Off-putting typically because they haven't ever seen somebody like me, and leaning into that. And I wasn't always like super conscious of what was happening, but I could tell, if somebody was intrigued for these reasons, and having enough experience, eventually I was able to kind of, you know, play the game a little bit and navigate these with a little bit more professional experience, knowing how things were going to turn out. So by time I closed my agency, I had 3 other agencies that would white label me. So they were selling me actively to other people. I had a lot of professional contacts in the industry that were working for me and referring to me. And honestly, everything else that I was doing, like the social media presence and the following and the Facebook groups and all of that, really just kind of supported this idea of me as having the skill sets to do and build these things. But honestly, at the end of the day, the opportunities to do those things at the level of which I eventually ended up did not come because I was doing those things. I hope that makes sense. I hope I'm explaining this in a clear way. So when I'm in the Enlightened Entrepreneurs Facebook group and people are struggling to go, beyond a $3,000 a month, or they're struggling to even find one client or customer who even has a budget to pay them, or they're feeling undervalued because they feel like their skill sets are too technical or niche or obscure, I just wanted to put this out there and tell the truth about it so that it maybe can plant the seed about how you're going about things and maybe how you're thinking. I'm still pro building an online presence. I'm not somebody who's like going to leave social media because I get a lot from social media. I love the communities that I've built and that I'm part of. I participate in the communities that I have, which is actually unique to somebody like me. I used to build Facebook groups and Instagram followings for people who only had VAs interacting as them. They were just too high level to even actually interact with these platforms that they were building. So I know what that looks like, and it's just not how I see social media being. It's not how I use it. I don't necessarily agree with that approach. People just used to want followers for followers' sake. They wanted platforms for the kind of like social benefits of it inside of their high level networks. I can understand the mindset behind that, but it's just not how I've ever proceeded. I want social media communities so I can have community. But that said, I think it's time somebody just tells the truth about this and kind of puts it out there to just kind of comfort all of the people that are feeling like these opportunities like are happening for other people, but they're not available to them. They are. It's just changing your approach and going back to what is simple and what is basic and what works, which is showing up, telling your story, being willing to, get on a coffee call and get to know somebody with no agenda. Because that's the other piece of it, right? It doesn't even matter if they're your peer and that they're at the level that you're at, or they are somebody that, could change your life. It's how you approach these conversations. And a casual coffee chat for me has always been a foot in the door to the right circles who, you know what? They were the people with the potential to change my life. If you haven't done so already, come say hi in the Enlightened Entrepreneurs community. These are the kind of conversations we are having. It is very real in there right now. So if that's what you're looking for, just to hear some truth and get some real feedback on what it's going to take to make your entrepreneurial endeavor successful, you're going to find other people doing interesting and unique things from all different, niches and spaces. We've kind of created a wonderful community, and it's on Facebook. I know not everybody does Facebook, but that's where it is. So that's where we'll see ya. Thanks so much for watching until the end. Take care. Bye.